All right, hello everybody. My name's Ryan Patrick, and I'm the team leader for Team ChickAnd Sandwich. And today I'll be presenting alongside my teammates.
Hi, I'm Michael Moon. Nice to meet you.
Hi, I'm Darryn Wong.
Yeah, and today we'll be sharing and demoing our COVID dashboard project. And we want to mention that even though the COVID pandemic is winding down a bit now, at least in the United States, we feel that the COVID dashboard, it's still a very useful and relevant and important tool in order for you and your loved ones to stay safe and informed. So Darryn, why don't you go ahead and share your screen now? All right, so here, this is our dashboard here. As you can see, the main feature in the center of the screen is this map here. Not quite loading everything in. That's probably just due to connectivity issues or just other internet issues, a bit slow to load. But as you can see here, we have this world map, which you can scroll around and zoom into and hover over these tooltips to get localized and up-to-date COVID statistics. And we should mention too that we based this project off of the Gatsby coronavirus dashboard demo. We used that as a base, and then we went off that, added a bunch of our own code, and utilized other APIs to get other information. So in this map here, if you hover your mouse over one of the tooltips, a window will appear and it shows the location. So for example, I'm looking at France here, and we can see statistics like the confirmed amount of COVID cases, the amount of deaths, the amount of people who have recovered after getting COVID, as well as the last time that this information was updated in the API that we're getting it from. So, and that API is the same one that gives us this information below down here, which is sort of global COVID statistics, like the total amount of cases in the world, total deaths, the amount of tests that have been conducted, the active cases right now, the amount of people who are in a critical condition while having COVID, and the amount of people who have recovered after getting it. And then you can see below here too, a date indicating the last time that this information was updated. And then the next major piece of functionality in this dashboard is on the left here, this search bar. So this is just a list that contains all the countries in the world, and you can just search it by name. So if you enter U here, it'll search by name and then narrow down the search for USA. And then you can actually click on this list item here, and the map will have this nice like flyby animation, take you to this place in the map. Again, it's not quite loading just due to connectivity issues. But if you hover over here, you can see that we are indeed centered over the USA, and it's giving us the latest information. And then another thing to note too is that when you select a country in this search bar here, you could see vaccination data for the country that you just selected. So you can see here the amount of vaccinations that have been administered in the USA. And then finally, if you scroll down here below the map and the data, there's a small About Us section, just some basic information, as well as the link to the GitHub repo that our project's code is stored at, as well as we listed our sources here. So there's a link to the API that we use for the map and all of this associated information here. And then we actually have a completely different API for getting the vaccination data. And then finally, we have the COVID dashboard tutorial GitHub link here as well. All right, so now I'm going to hand it over to Darryn. He's going to talk about sort of the development process and go over some of the code.
Thank you, Ryan. I'll be talking about challenges we faced during our coding adventure and the basic design of our code. So as Ryan mentioned, for our base, we use the Gatsby dashboard, and then the main thing we added is the what you see on the left side of the screen, the vaccination data, and then the states where you can like filter them, and then the countries, I mean, where you can filter them and then click on them and to view that country. So in our code to do that, we had mainly two functions. First one is the li item. which takes in the two APIs that Ryan just mentioned. So what it does is that it will go to the API. It will like fetch all the countries and then it will load them. And then it will also take in a search term and then filter down from there. Next, we have a function called vaccine injection. This takes in the second API. What this does is that when you click on them, it will update the country and then the number of vaccinations from that API. Next, Michael will talk in depth about like how he connects everything together and make everything displayed on the page.
Okie dokie. Thank you so much. Just get the let me just get, there we go. Share screen up. All right. So in order to create a dynamic search query, manage everything, we use React hooks. Originally, the base actually already used React hooks. However, we're using different React hook functions, specifically the use state and use effects, in order to revalidate upon loading with the use effect, and use state in order to get stateful objects in order to better create a dynamic UI. Also, in order to get information from promises, very important. So there are three main stateful objects that we need to look at: country name, vaccinations, and search term. Country name and vaccinations, they both populate this part right here, and pretty standard. And the search term populates whatever's in here. Where is VSC again? There it is. Okay, so I'll just take you through the timeline of how a user should interact with it, and we'll go from there. So from the start, obviously it's React, so the return is in JSX. Kind of hard to read, but I'll take you through this. The only part that we're really interested in, however, is this little bit right here. So this part's an input field. The value is the stateful object, the search term, and onChange calls this function, which it just replaces the search terms like input field with whatever the user puts in. Alrighty, moving along. Along with that gets passed into this function right here, parent that fetches. Now you'll notice that it's a little strange because we're calling in search term as a parameter. It's actually because we originally tried to pull them as like global functions, but turned out, this is React. We can put them all into the constant, call it a day. That also took a while to figure out. But that way we actually we don't get any more scoping issues, and that solved a lot. So parent that fetches, this calls an async function that just updates the information within data and data2, which are both APIs. Again, they have to be stateful functions, or these stateful objects, because fetching calls a promise, which promises they don't really work well with synchronous variables. Pardon me. So we return onto li item the information that we pulled, which right here, it's right here. Now you'll notice right here we have const results, which actually looks into the search filter. In a very simple like search query, like a React based search query, this whole thing would be in a step outside right here. However, whoopsie doodle, because we don't have an array within within the function, or within the program, we call them from through APIs. We need to actually have another layer of abstraction. So right here, this return function right here, yeah, I had to convince Darryn a couple times that this double return actually was valid, and it actually does work, and it does work because it doesn't crash. It doesn't crash, so it obviously works. Yeah, so we iterate through results, which is this function right here, which again revalidates with the search term based off of whatever starts with whatever is in the search term. As Darryn mentioned, we have the fly to function right here. And again, also on click, we update the stateful objects for the vaccination corner right here. Where is the thing right here? Now, this vaccine injection function, I just want to say it was a little confusing because the way the API, the second API that we call in data 2 is structured, each item is obviously a JavaScript object. However, each JavaScript object has a country and another JavaScript object called timeline, which has a field based off of recently called items or recently called vaccine numbers. So the field name is whatever the date is, and the input field is actually whatever or however many vaccines have been distributed for that country. In order to get that, however, we had to call in another filter query through whatever, or based off of whatever country was closest within the second API list, which gives us an array of length 1. And right here, our const result is just a hotkey to getting the timeline, which is, again, the nested JavaScript object. Now, in order to get the information from the key at index 0 of the nested object, very confusing, we have to call this line key W, and then we return key W, which updates the set vaccinations, which means that the information down here in country name and vaccinations, again, the stateful objects, revalidates, and thus giving us the very appealing vaccination corner. Again, it all updates right here. It's all nice. And again, I just want to say Darryn's internet is pretty bad. I don't really understand what's going on down here, but hey, any chance I get to to insult Darryn, I'll take it. That being said, though, this surprisingly it was quite difficult working with this because it was a lot of research into what React hooks were in the first place, and obviously working with another person's code, it's always a struggle. We expected to be able to write more within the time allotted, but no, yeah, this search query really took it out of us. That being said, though, I'd say we did a pretty good job. I'm very proud of us, and yeah, again, we're Team ChickAnd Sandwich, and yeah, thank you very much. See you later. Bye-bye. How do I end this recording?